David Corenswet went from a self-described string bean to Superman in just 9 months, and the internet is absolutely losing its mind over whether this transformation is even humanly possible. The new Man of Steel claims he packed on 40 pounds of muscle naturally, but fitness experts, bodybuilders, and skeptics across social media are calling this timeline completely unrealistic without pharmaceutical help. This isn't just another Hollywood transformation story. We're talking about a complete physical metamorphosis that has legendary powerlifters questioning the claims, fitness influencers analyzing every photo for evidence, and fans divided into camps of believers versus doubters. The controversy has reached such heights that major fitness publications are dedicating entire articles to dissecting whether Corenswet's gains are legitimate or if there's something he's not telling us. What makes this case so explosive? It's not just the dramatic before and after photos, it's the specific timeline, the starting physique, and the bold statements being made about achieving this naturally. Some experts are pointing to telltale signs they claim prove enhancement was involved, while others argue the transformation is entirely possible with the right approach and resources. The truth behind this transformation could completely change how we think about natural muscle building limits, or it could expose yet another Hollywood cover-up. Either way, what we uncover today will shock you. If you want to see the full breakdown of exactly how this transformation was achieved and whether the claims hold up under scrutiny, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We're about to dive deep into the training, nutrition, and science behind one of the most controversial physique transformations in recent Hollywood history. Now, let's examine what really happened when David Corenswet was cast as Superman. Unlike previous actors who came to the role already carrying significant muscle mass, Corenswet faced a unique challenge. Director James Gunn's instructions were crystal clear: transform from a naturally thin frame into a physique that could convincingly portray the world's most iconic superhero. The journey that followed has become the center of one of the biggest debates in the fitness world today. The workout regimen that David Corenswet followed reveals some fascinating insights into how this dramatic change was achieved. Working under the guidance of trainer Paolo Masiti, the approach was far from casual. We're talking about an intensive, methodical system designed to maximize muscle growth in the shortest possible time frame. The training schedule alone tells us this wasn't a typical Hollywood preparation. During pre-production, Corenswet was hitting the gym 5 to 6 days per week, with each session lasting approximately 2 hours. This volume decreased slightly during filming to 3 to 4 sessions weekly, but maintained the same duration and intensity level that had been established during the building phase. The program structure centered around a push-pull leg split, which allowed for training each major muscle group twice per week while providing adequate recovery time. This approach is particularly effective for maximizing training frequency without overwhelming the body's ability to recover and adapt. The split enabled consistent stimulation of all major muscle groups while avoiding the pitfalls of overtraining that often derail ambitious transformation goals. Progressive overload formed the cornerstone of the entire approach. Every session focused on gradually increasing either weight or repetitions, with the rep range typically falling between 6 to 12 repetitions per set. This range is scientifically proven to be optimal for hypertrophy, striking the perfect balance between mechanical tension and metabolic stress, two of the primary drivers of muscle growth. The exercise selection emphasized compound movements that recruit multiple muscle groups simultaneously. Heavy pressing movements, pull-ups, rows, and squats formed the foundation of each training session. These exercises are known for their ability to stimulate maximum muscle fiber recruitment and trigger the greatest hormonal response for muscle building. What sets this program apart from typical celebrity training routines is the emphasis on execution quality over flashy exercises. Full range of motion was non-negotiable, with particular attention paid to controlling the eccentric portion of each lift. The negative phase of movement is crucial for muscle development, as it creates the most muscle damage and subsequent growth stimulus. Training intensity reached levels that Corenswet had never previously experienced, with sets frequently taken to complete muscular failure. This approach ensures maximum motor unit recruitment and creates the optimal environment for muscle fiber adaptation and growth. The training program was impressive, but the real game changer in David Corenswet's transformation was his nutritional approach, and the numbers are absolutely staggering. We're not talking about a modest caloric increase or careful body recomposition. This was an all-out aggressive bulking strategy that pushed caloric intake to extreme levels. During the peak of his transformation, Corenswet was consuming between 4,500 to 6,000 calories daily. To put this in perspective, most active men require between 2,500 to 3,000 calories for maintenance. This means he was eating double or even triple what would be considered normal food intake for someone of his activity level and size. The macronutrients breakdown followed a structured approach: 50% carbohydrates, 30% protein, and 20% fats. This distribution prioritized energy for intense training sessions, while ensuring adequate protein for muscle synthesis and sufficient fats for hormone production and overall health. Protein intake was set at approximately 1 gram per pound of body weight, sourced from both whole foods and whey protein supplements. At his peak weight, this translated to consuming around 240 grams of protein daily. The inclusion of protein shakes wasn't just for convenience when you're trying to consume this volume of food. Liquid calories become essential for meeting targets without feeling perpetually stuffed. The meal structure reveals the commitment required for this approach. Breakfast alone consisted of 6 egg whites plus 2 whole eggs, 1.5 to 2 cups of oatmeal, Greek yogurt, berries, and almonds. This single meal likely contained over 1,000 calories, and it was just the beginning of his daily intake throughout the day. Meals centered around traditional bodybuilding staples, lean meats, fish, rice, potatoes, vegetables, and multiple protein smoothies. However, the plan wasn't limited to these clean foods. Strategic inclusion of higher calorie options became necessary to reach the extreme daily targets. Corenswet has been open about including what he calls cheat items, French toast, waffles, and his admitted weakness, cereal. These weren't occasional indulgences but rather necessary components to achieve the caloric surplus required for his transformation goals. When you're trying to consume 6,000 calories from chicken and rice alone, you quickly realize why more calorie-dense options become essential. This nutritional strategy created a massive caloric surplus that would inevitably lead to rapid weight gain, but not all of it would be the muscle mass everyone focuses on. To truly understand whether David Corenswet's transformation claims hold water, we need to examine the cold, hard numbers behind his caloric intake and energy expenditure. The mathematics reveal exactly why this transformation happened the way it did. That at 6 feet 4 inches and weighing 240 pounds during his peak bulk, Corenswet's basal metabolic rate, the calories needed just to sustain basic bodily functions, at rest calculated to approximately 2,150 calories per day. However, this baseline figure tells only part of the story. What matters more is his total daily energy expenditure, which accounts for his intensive training regimen. Training 2 hours daily, 6 days per week, places him firmly in the highly active category. Using standard metabolic calculations, his daily energy needs to maintain his weight and activity level would be approximately 3,710 calories. Now here's where the numbers become truly revealing. When consuming 4,500 to 6,000 calories daily against a maintenance requirement of 3,710 calories, Corenswet was operating at a caloric surplus of 2,290 calories every single day. At the upper end, this represents a massive energy excess that would inevitably lead to rapid weight accumulation. This wasn't the modest 300 to 500 calorie surplus that fitness experts typically recommend for lean muscle gain. This was an aggressive bulk of unprecedented proportions, where the primary goal was maximum size gain regardless of body composition. The physical evidence supports these calculations perfectly. Corenswet has been candid about the uncomfortable reality of his transformation. He couldn't fit into his existing clothes, particularly his pants. This is a telltale sign that significant abdominal fat accumulation occurred, as pure muscle gain rarely causes such dramatic changes in waist circumference. His own words provide additional confirmation. He didn't feel great during the initial transformation phase because his body was struggling to adjust to carrying all the extra weight. He joked about needing to XL clothing during script readings, acknowledging that he had reached the absolute peak of his bulk, before tapering down for filming by the time cameras started rolling. Corenswet had reduced his weight from 240 pounds to 228 pounds, representing a 12-pound reduction through dietary adjustments before production began. This strategic cut helped remove some of the excess fat while maintaining the muscle mass that had been built during the aggressive bulking phase. These numbers paint a clear picture of exactly what type of transformation took place and why the results appeared so dramatic in such a relatively short time frame. When we strip away the hype and examine David Corenswet's transformation through an objective lens, the picture becomes much clearer. The dramatic visual change that has everyone debating isn't quite what it initially appears to be. Looking at the before and after photos with a trained eye, we can estimate that Corenswet progressed from approximately 13% body fat to around 22% body fat during his transformation. This represents a significant shift in body composition that explains the dramatic visual difference between his starting point and peak bulk. Using these body fat percentages and his weight changes, we can calculate the actual muscle versus fat gain. Of the total weight increase to his peak of 240 pounds, approximately 21 pounds would have been fat accumulation, while only about 7 pounds represented actual muscle tissue growth. This breakdown is crucial for understanding the transformation's feasibility. The question isn't whether someone can gain 40 pounds in 9 months. That's entirely possible with aggressive eating. The real question is whether gaining 7 pounds of muscle tissue in that time frame is achievable naturally. For someone who had never trained with this level of intensity, consistency, and professional guidance, gaining 7 pounds of muscle in 9 months is not only possible but actually quite reasonable. Corenswet had access to optimal conditions, professional training, supervision, unlimited time for recovery, perfect nutrition timing, and the motivation that comes with a career-defining role, the transformation appears more dramatic than it actually is because of the significant body fat changes. Going from a lean 13% to a softer 22% body fat creates a completely different visual appearance, even with modest muscle gains underneath. When comparing Corenswet's physique to known enhanced athletes of similar height and weight, the differences become apparent. The muscle density, vascularity, and overall development don't match what we typically see from pharmaceutical enhancement. His transformation looks exactly like what you'd expect from an aggressive natural bulk combined with consistent training. This case study demonstrates how proper training, adequate recovery, and massive caloric surpluses can create impressive transformations without requiring enhancement. The key lies in understanding that not all dramatic changes are purely muscle. Body composition shifts can create equally impressive visual results. Whether Corenswet used any assistance or achieved this transformation naturally, the training principles and dedication required remain the same. The real lesson here is that dramatic physical changes are possible with the right approach, even if they don't always represent pure muscle gain. If you found this deep dive analysis as fascinating as we did, smash that subscribe button right now, because tomorrow we're dropping another transformation breakdown that will challenge everything you think you know about natural limits. Don't miss out on content that cuts through the noise and gives you the truth behind Hollywood's most controversial physique changes. Your fitness journey deserves this level of insight.